I just stamped these images using the DIY foam stamps that I made 2 years ago with the water scrap die cut dies for the while I was at the Elizabeth Craft Designs design team, and there was a lady who asked me if it would be possible to if I had tried to first stamp the image on a paper and then die cut it with the dies that I created the stamps with. And I thought I'm going to give this a try and create some cards on craft card bases, because I really like the color, and I thought I'd use distress inks and distress oxides to stamp the images first and then die cut them. But the trouble is, we'll see how this works, because when I stamp this image, it will be on the paper the other way around than, can you see here? So I've got the opposites here. So what I need to do is I need to place the die cut die underneath the paper to be able to die cut it. And that's kind of tricky, and I'm trying to position these through a window to get it as good as I can, and we'll see what happens. It's a try, so it could work, but it also could be total disaster. We'll see. So I'm going to go to my window where I have more light, and then I'm going to place this with washi tape onto the right position underneath the paper. You can see how difficult that is, so we'll see how that goes. If that works out, I will probably have really nice cards to play with, but we'll see how that goes. Be back soon. Okay, so this is the moment of truth. So I'm removing the die cut die, and back then when I created these stamps, I added all the negative pieces from inside the stamp foam image around the edges. So obviously this part will not be in my die cut die, because the die cut die does not have these parts in it. So that will be the residue that's left over anyhow. And I used a regular washi tape just to attach the die to the paper. And now we will see what happens. So where's my needle tool? Hold on, I need to find that one. There. So I can easily remove this from that area. Okay, so let's hope this worked out. Oh, it's quite nice. So obviously it doesn't matter which way around I do it. If I die cut it first, place it in here, roll with brayer over it, would probably work as well. But obviously it's the back side of the image always, so I don't get these smooth edges, which I really don't mind. And this paper is quite thick, so I could now just leave these white parts there if I want to, or just take them away with this needle one by one, which probably I will do. So it kind of works, but it's not the perfect image, because it's really hard to place the stamp and the die on exact same position. So you get partially white areas, partially colored, like here you can see that's not perfect. And then you could add it onto a card base, add a nice sentiment, and you have a really nice, clean and simple card created for yourself. So I'll keep on testing, and then I'll decorate the cards and we'll see what happens. I mean, it's worth a try, right? Okay, so this is the distress oxide image, and I think I like this even more than the distress ink image because of the drippings, and it gives a more watercolor look for the die cut image, and I rolled this through because this paper is a watercolor paper, so it's quite thick. I think I rolled it through my Big Shot like, I don't know, 4 times, and now I can remove these bits quite easily so that I have partial areas of white and quite a good result. So if you are able to position the die cut die behind the image, stamped image, really well, you get quite a nice look. But you just have to have a little bit patience and work precisely, and then it seems to work better. And if I had been wise from the beginning, I would have adhered a sheet of clear double-sided adhesive on the back, so when I remove these pieces I could just take off the protection part of the tape and adhere this easily to my card. Now I need to work with a glue pen or something because of the delicate design, so keep that in mind when you're doing your own images, because it will make working easier. So I'm basically I didn't plan this video really well, I'm just developing as I go, so you know, all these things that you notice while you're working that you could have done better, well, yeah, this is what happens. And but other than that, this looks really nice. So if after I've taken out every single piece here, all of these areas, then I can go and adhere it onto a card and use it as it is. And I have a glue pen like this. This is a really thick one. This is from Nuvo, and this should work with the fragile image, the detailed image, really well. So that will do the trick, but if you work wisely, you will adhere the double-sided sheet underneath before you start die cutting, so it makes it more easy to adhere it on place later. Okay, so that is the image with Distress Oxides, and I really like the colors against the... So I'll probably go and add it like this, so it looks like it's falling down from here, and then add a sentiment here. So I've got a really nice clean and simple card created with this technique. So it does work. Takes a little more patience and playing around, but the idea works. So you can use this DIY stamp made with the die cut die and adhesive foam in this way too. So more ways to use them on your craft projects. So yes, you can do that, but it's a little bit time consuming and a little bit trickier than just stamping and die cutting, because you get the image wrong way around when you stamp it. So the die and the... where's the other one? Let's take this one, it's better to show. So when you stamp it like this and then you need to die cut it, then this one is again going to the opposite direction. So you cannot just stamp and die cut like you normally would do, because the image turns around while you stamp it. But it works. Okay, so I'll continue cleaning up this one and die cut a few more, and then I'll create cards with them, and then we'll see how they look like in the end. So I'm back again, and I've finished 4 images because I have 4 card bases in craft paper, and they worked out quite nicely. You have these small areas of white spaces here they don't have any ink on them, because it's really hard to place the die cut die exactly on the spot. Besides since the ink is wet, it kind of runs around a little bit and moves around on paper, so some areas are better inked than the other ones, obviously, but you still get quite nice images. I'm quite happy with the result. Doesn't look bad at all, and against the craft cardstock it looks really nice in there. And I'm now going to adhere these pieces on place and then just add stamped sentiment to go with the card, and my 4 clean and simple cards created with the DIY stamps, which were created with the Moda Scrap die cut dies 2 years ago. Worked out actually really nice. So after I've adhered everything, I'll be back. Okay, so I've adhered the pieces on place and it works really easy. It's really easy to do with this Nouveau thick glue pen. And like I said, I could have used the double-sided clear adhesive sheets on the back if I had thought about it before I started inking and coloring. But like I said, I didn't think about it, so I had to improvise and use the glue pen instead. And the reason why I did these cards this way is because I got a question on my YouTube channel from a lady asking me if I had actually tried stamping this image on paper and then die cutting it with these dies to make an even more versatile use for this DIY stamp. And I thought that's a good idea, and I thought I'd give it a try. And while I was stamping, I noticed that when you stamp, obviously the image turns around, and then when you place the die cut die on it, that goes the other way around, so that goes in the other direction. So you have the images basically facing each other the wrong way around. So you have to go and die cut from underneath the paper, which is not that easy because you cannot see the image and you cannot see where to place the die cut die on. So you have to go and be creative and place the image against the window, then place the die cut die on place, adhere it to the paper with washi tape, and then you can go and die cut. So it works, but it's a little bit more tricky. So it's not the easiest way to do the image, to create the image. But in the end, it pays off because I think this looks really nice on a card. And then you just have to add a few details, maybe a few flowers and a sentiment, and you have really nice clean and simple cards created in well, not in no time, but quite easily. So I'm going to finish these cards, add a stamp sentiment or something, and then share with you the cards when they are done.